Welcome back to another episode. This week's message is from a request that I got from someone, and this person has just done some amazing things over the years, not only within their own family, but also their individual accomplishments that they've made over the years. So, like I've mentioned before in some of my other videos, if there's a topic that you would like me to hit on, just feel free to message me or direct message me on Instagram at KOATSC, and I'd be more than happy to talk about whatever topic it is that you have in mind. So we'll get into it. And the person that messaged me, they were wondering how I stay so motivated and how I continue to go after some of the goals or dreams that I have. So really, in a nutshell, how do I make the jump even though I'm scared? It's sometimes I wonder that myself, but I was thinking about it the other night. I was actually talking to one of my friends about this, and I think the motivation and drive that I have started a long time ago, and I was trying to figure out when exactly it was, and I honestly I think it happened probably about 2007, 2008. So for those that have been around me and know me, growing up I was very involved in sports, even going into college as well. But there was one significant event that happened in my life that was probably one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And I can remember it like it happened yesterday, and I probably will never forget it. But it was in my senior year. I had big dreams and goals to play big time football at the Division I level, and I think it was my third or fourth game into my senior season, and I suffered an ACL, MCL, and a meniscus injury all at the same time. And at the time, I didn't really think about the significance that it would have on my future. But as I get older and older and older, and I look back on those things, and I think to myself, if that didn't happen, the direction I would have gone with my athletics and academics. And the reason why I say it was probably one of the best things that happened to me is because, number one, I don't think that was my route or my goal in life. And number two, I didn't take school as serious. So I think that event kind of brought things into perspective of, sports isn't everything. And that was the shift that I noticed. And so after that happened, I was a little bit down, but I would still go to practice, and I was still joking, and I tried to make fun of it. I got hurt, and I'd be hobbling around at practice and trying to run even though I couldn't. And I think it was 2 or 3 months into my first semester of college, I was like, man, something just doesn't feel right. And I made the jump to actually try to play football again. So I decided to transfer schools and go to a small junior college to continue that goal that I had of, someday playing big time football. And during that year, I found out real quick that, a little scrawny dude like myself that wasn't, very fast, it wasn't going to work out. But the significance of that event has now kind of built up the momentum of a lot of the risks that I take nowadays. So I went from an ACL injury to trying to come back and play football. Didn't work out. I failed. I actually was in the position at one point to either, I think it was between UW-Milwaukee and the University of Illinois at the time. And I was trying to transfer into those schools, and something odd happened. I cut some guy off at when I was driving the subway, and I felt bad about it. So when we got into the store, I was like, "Hey, sir, I'm sorry for cutting you off." Long story short, that ended up turning into a job at State Farm, and I took the risk of going on with State Farm than to pursue going to U of I or going to a school in Milwaukee. Now, I still graduated from college, but I just wanted to go in a different route. So that was another risk that I took because I didn't really know where the State Farm would take me. Then it went into wanting to teach English as a foreign language in another country. I actually did get a job offer. It was at a university in China, and I think I can't remember if I was actually teaching English or I was going to be I don't remember what exactly the job description was, but they were going to give me an apartment, $600 a month, a bike, and a laptop. I think that would have been tough, $600. But I took that risk, but I ended up not taking the job, and instead I traveled around the world. So after that risk, I came back and I tried to start my own business. It was my first business. I didn't really go anywhere. I didn't even grow legs. I figured out that it just wasn't a good idea, so I failed there. A lot of late nights, early mornings that I stayed up trying to figure things out. So I took that risk. Then I tried to start another business with the sports performance training. So that was another risk, a sacrifice, a major sacrifice. I've given up a lot over the past 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, to make that happen. Then going from there, moving to another state, just kind of a shot in the dark. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so all these risks, how do I do it? There was another risk. I did some work with a travel agency I was doing some marketing work for them. This is when I was trying to start my first business. That didn't work out. So the point of this story is, how do I stay motivated, and how do I continue to take risks is, once you make the first risk, you learn from it, and you're like, wow, this isn't too bad. And so it's just a continual effect of learning. That's essentially what I take failure as, is just a learning tool to get to where I'm going. Is it hard to stay motivated? Absolutely. I'll be the first one to say that it's extremely hard to continue to be your own cheerleader. I'll take the sports performance business that I've started. It's just been me for the whole time. I've had people help me here and there with ideas and events and things like that, and I'm extremely thankful for those people. But the days where you have clients, and then the days where you don't have clients, it's an emotional roller coaster. And so my motivation comes from helping other people, because the more and more I can help somebody else, it gives me a motivation to continue doing what I'm doing. So I try to spin things off into either helping people, trying to find the message, the underlying message of, why am I doing what I'm doing, and just knowing that I have siblings, family, and then other people that follow some of my work that are motivated and inspired by the risks that I take. And I think that's what keeps me going. I've always had a big chip on my shoulder, ever since I'd probably say middle school. I've always had a big chip on my shoulder. I remember many of the things that people say to me as far as, why are you going for this, or for the longest time, and it's still one of my motivators, is people still see me as an athlete, but I'm not an athlete. I'm much more than an athlete, and that's why I read, that's why I help people, that's why I'm trying to learn everything that I can, because I don't want to be labeled as an athlete, because I am not an athlete. And so when people bring up, oh, you were a great football player in high school, I try to switch subjects, because I don't want to talk about that, because that was 175 years ago. but that's not who that's not what defines me. And so the chip on my shoulder is I've always felt that I've been viewed as an athlete, and that's not what I want to be viewed as. I want to be viewed as somebody that is very intelligent, somebody that is very kind-hearted and gives himself to anybody that comes around me or is in my circle. I provide value to everybody that I know. And so that's the other thing that really keeps me inspired and keeps me motivated, because I want to do things much bigger than myself. Is it hard continuing to make risks? Yeah, it is. It's very taxing. It can be emotionally draining, and there are some days where you just question, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? But I just go back to having siblings that are watching me, having family that's watching me, having people that I don't even know that I inspire. I mean, I get messages sometimes, and people say, that's, you put out great content, great messages, keep doing what you're doing. I'm very inspired. I'm kind of getting into another idea that I have, and I had a conversation with a young lady in Cape Town, so it was South Africa, the other morning, and she's trying to start her own business. And I had, I think it's about an hour conversation with her. She's getting ready to start a great business. It's an awesome business. But I had a conversation with her, and the review that she left me was unbelievable. I may post it at some point, but that's what inspires me. That's what drives me. That's what keeps me motivated, is knowing that I have the ability to help people, that I have the ability to impact somebody else. That is what I get this unbelievable amount of energy when I help people, and that's really what keeps me inspired and keeps me going after things that most people wouldn't go after. I mean, how many people do you know that would pick up a secure job with a large insurance company, to potentially go after a job in China or travel the world? How many people do you know that would have a business in a location that is doing well and pick up and move to another state? How many people do you know that actually go after some of their dreams and goals? The more and more people I talk to, not many people go after those things, because the brain's interesting. It's designed to keep us in survival mode. We want to survive. And so the bigger the risk, the less likelihood somebody is to go after it. But something that I'm starting to learn is, the more and more that it scares you, the more and more you should go after it. Now, it's easy for me to say because I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, I don't have that many obligations. But for those people that are watching this that don't have kids, that aren't married, go after what you want. I mean, there's so many things in this world, there's so many opportunities in this world that many of us miss out on because we're, one, worried about other people's point of view and their opinion, and secondly, we want to be secure and comfortable. And that's one of the big things that I've learned over the years is I love change. I like to change, I like change, but I don't like change. But if change is going to put me in a position to succeed, by all means, I'm going to take it. I'm absolutely going to take it. Now, I might fall straight on my face, but I don't care, because I don't care about other people's opinions on risks that I take, because it's not that person. I had one person before I left from the state that I was in, Illinois, they asked me, why do you want to move? You have it so good here. And in my mind, I was like, that's the person I don't want to be around. Because if I'm going after a risk, I want that person to be supportive of me and what I'm doing, but also to give me, and I don't need encouragement, but from a viewpoint of an outsider looking in, encourage that person to go after what they want. Don't try to give your opinion to somebody because you would have been scared to go after that thing. That's the wrong way to approach it. If somebody wants to be an astronaut tomorrow, encourage them to be an astronaut tomorrow. Now, will it happen? Who knows? But encourage them. And a lot of this content that I put out, it's about positivity, encouraging other people. The people that are in my circle, my best friends, my family, everybody that I have in my circle is supportive of everything that I do. And nobody ever tries to talk me out of anything. Now, sometimes that backfires, but I'm still going to do what I want to do. Obviously, I'll ask maybe one or two people, and that's the other thing we have to be careful. We got to be careful of who you talk to. Because if you talk to somebody that's scared to go after their dreams or goals, they're going to talk you out of it. And that's the other thing that keeps you motivated, is knowing that you have a wonderful supportive system around you that is not only going to inspire you, but is also going to pick you up on days that you need to be picked up. We all have those days. I don't care who you are. You could be 50 Cent, you could be LeBron James, you could be Michael Phelps. We all have down days. We have those quote-unquote dog days. We all have them. I don't care how positive you are. I have them. And how do you get out of them? Sometimes you just have days you don't get out of. But there are ways to help those days. Sometimes I'll get in my car and go to the store. Well, my thing is if I have a dog day, I'll go to the store, I'll buy something. It could be very, very small, something like, I don't know, some fruit or something like that. And I'll try to do a good deed while I'm at the store. That'll kind of get me out of my dog day or dog days. But you know, to kind of recap, how do I stay motivated? How do I stay inspired? I help other people. I've got a huge chip on my shoulder still after all these years, and it stems from many of the things that happened coming up in grade school, middle school, high school, and how different people said the things that they said to me. Still have a chip on my shoulder because I don't want to be viewed as an athlete. I don't want to be viewed as another number. I want to be viewed as somebody that went after my goals, that was very inspiring to others, but also put a lot of good out into this world. And then thirdly, you just have to have a good circle around you. So if you have people in your circle that are bringing negativity or trying to talk you out of things that you want to do, maybe that person shouldn't be in your circle. Now, if I was to tell my mom or my dad, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to build 5 different spaceship holders on the moon and this and that. My parents would be like, all right, well, you know, be realistic with what you're going after. You know, it's got to be realistic. So, you know, I'll use another example. If I want to become, I don't know, what's a good thing? If I want to build a floating house in outer space, that might not be as realistic. But if I want to start another business to help other people, that's very realistic. You know, if I want to become a millionaire, it's very realistic. That's another topic for discussion. So, hopefully you gained value out of this video. Like I said, I'm just trying to spread and put out as much positivity in this world, because we are vibrational creatures. So the more and more positivity you put out in this world, your vibrational frequencies go up, and it all comes back to you tenfold. You may be inspiring somebody. Go after what you want to go after. Believe in what you want to believe. Inspire others. That's what it's all about. So if you gain value from this video, please share it with somebody that may be in need of this message or needs to hear this message. And also be sure to head over on Instagram to follow me at KOATSC for more inspiration and motivation. Until then, we'll talk soon.